Su Yi, who has traveled to a parallel world, is participating in a singing variety show. He thought he was going on a round trip, but he has awakened a whole entertainment system. As long as you keep practicing, you can earn points for lucky draws, and the prizes include various cultural and entertainment works and props on Earth. From then on, the entertainment industry added a big star with an incorrect art style. A well-known director said, "I admit that Su Ye's acting skills are definitely among the best in the industry, but he really has some mental problems. I hope he can go to the hospital for a check. Up. Can you imagine someone drinking cola on set with a tall glass?" A certain music queen said, "Who knows my family?" Su Yi is so speechless. Last time he drove me and a few female friends, he wanted to smoke a cigarette in the car. I said there were girls in the car not to smoke, but he actually let us get off the car and drive away. A certain top-flowing little flower said, "I have explained many times about the incident where Su Yi and I were photographed by a paparazzi in the same room last time. He really pulled me into bed to see his newly bought luminous watch. If I were to deceive someone, let me collapse in place." Su Ye's fan. I admit my brother has some mental health issues, but he hasn't violated any laws. Su Yi, there is a mudslide in the entertainment industry. Playing cards without following the usual rules is legal, but he is sick. This book is also known as, Who Taught You How to Sing Like This? Keywords of the novel. This celebrity is legal but sick without pop-ups. This celebrity is legal but sick. Download the full text, and this celebrity is legal but sick. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Integrated Entertainment System. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Integrated Entertainment System Parallel Universes. On July 1, 2016, at noon. Blue Star, Huaxia, Onqing TV Rehearsal Room. This is aka Su Yi, who is 1.78 meters tall. Let's bring you all together. No, this section is not allowed. Born in 1996, I dream of becoming a rap leader. No, neither can this. Hello everyone, I'm just practicing for a certain amount of time. No, although this introduction is average, I can't make out the flavor of the dance that follows. Su Yi has been practicing in front of the mirror in the rehearsal room for an hour. He is a contracted artist for voice and light entertainment, who has been interested in him for a year since he covered a song online. But he didn't have any outstanding works this year, and coupled with his ongoing learning, he is still a little transparent to this day. Although he had a cut in the mirror, his face had clear lines and a pair of deep eyes. In one sentence, it can be summarized as handsome. Su Yi is not actually a person from this world, but a traveler. In his previous life, he was just an ordinary worker, and his hobbies were watching his little sister dance, playing games, and reading novels. However, when he woke up, he became Su Yi of this world. He is going to participate in the Tomorrow's Superstar program on Onqing TV tonight. There is a self-introduction of a contestant in the program, which is why he racked his brains here to find a solution. This kind of self-introduction is too crucial, it needs to be eye-catching, and showcase the contestant's strength. Although Su Yi has absorbed the memories of the original owner, he does not have the ability to perform. It's like my brain knows, but my body tells you I don't. Su Yi originally didn't have the opportunity to participate in the program, Tomorrow's Superstar, but before the show was warmed up, several contestants collapsed and the production team had to temporarily replace them in order to maintain the show. Su Yi was just pulled over to make up for it, just a passing act. But this opportunity is very important for Su Yi. Even if it's just a rounding up, if he really takes off on the show, he has a chance to turn the tables. Opportunities are reserved for those who are prepared. Unfortunately, the original owner's strength is not enough, and his level can only be said to be average. It is too difficult to advance. Su Yi can actually use his past life memories to make some flowers come alive, as the saying goes, black and red are also red. Isn't it easy to get angry? But he can think of it, and other players can also think of it. To continue on this path in the entertainment industry, both strength and capital are indispensable. At this moment, a voice rang in Su Ye's ear. Ding! The whole live entertainment system has been bound. Sleeping slot. The system may be delayed, but it's here. Su Ye's eyes suddenly lit up. The host property panel has been generated. With the sound, a virtual panel appeared in front of Su Ye, displaying lines of text. Host. Su Ye, age. 20 years old, appearance. 88, A. Level, temperament. 78, B. Level, current skills mastered. Vocal. 73, B. Level, dance. 64, level C, points. 0, Su Ye continued to look down, and there was another text highlighted in another color below. Operation Guide for Integrated Entertainment System. The skills mastered by the host will change with the host's self-learning, and the host can also learn new skills through the skill book extracted by the system. Points can be used for lucky draws, and rewards include but are not limited to entertainment works and various props on Earth. The only way for the host to obtain points is to complete various live activities. Each lottery consumes 50 points. After system upgrades, the lottery rules and prize pool will also change. Currently, the probability of the host winning the lottery is 20%, and the probability of winning the first lottery is 100%. After reading these introductions, Su Ye became excited. I thought I was going to take a different path, but I didn't expect the system to come. With this system, I must be popular. Su Ye already knows that the similarity between this world and the Earth is 99%. In terms of cultural and entertainment works, almost many of the cultural and entertainment works on Earth do not exist here, and even if there are, they are only a small part of the similarity. With the help of cultural and entertainment works on Earth, he will definitely be able to walk this path more steadily. So now the problem arises. Su Ye asked, what is a whole job? The beginner guidance task has been opened. Please take the elevator and don't turn around to stare at the people inside after entering the door. Completing the task will reward 10 points. Su Ye's mind was immediately filled with question marks. This Nima. Is this called whole life? Is this sick? Host can refuse, refusal defaults to unbinding the system. Don't, I think I can. Su Ye struggled in his heart for a while and decided to seize this opportunity. If you are sick, you must be sick. Just endure it for the sake of reward. Isn't it just that you don't turn around when entering the elevator? What's the difficulty of this? I'll find an empty elevator and give it a try. Task requirement. Please note that the elevator must be occupied by someone else. The system prompt has popped up again. Su Ye's head is covered in black lines. The system is really meticulous. Let's give it a try. Even if there's no system, I plan to get things done. Besides, I don't know why. Just think about the reaction of the people in the elevator, and I'm a little excited. Su Ye is a traveler, he has no idle burden. If it's more straightforward, it means having thick skin and being able to put it aside. What's the point of being scolded a few times? Su Ye immediately left the door of the training room and walked towards the elevator. At this time, the TV station was working hours and there were many people in the hallway, but these people didn't know Su Ye and didn't care. When Su Ye walked to the elevator door, he pressed the button to go downstairs. After waiting for a while, the elevator arrived. There are two good-looking boys standing in the elevator, and Su Ye remembers them both as contestants in this program. Seeing Su Ye standing at the door, a boy stepped back and made way for his position in front of him. Everyone is not familiar and did not say hello. Su Ye's heart was pounding, and he was still a bit nervous when he arrived. Forget it. I'm in. As long as I'm not embarrassed, it's someone else who's embarrassed. Su Ye walked straight in and stood in front of the boy. His eyes stared straight at the boy. The two are of similar height, looking at each other. At this point, the elevator door slowly closes. Suyi didn't turn around, still staring at the boy's face. To prevent embarrassment, he didn't show any expression on his face. Gu Jing was calm. At first, the boy didn't realize the problem, but when Suyi stared at him for more than 3 seconds, his gaze had begun to dodge. He glanced at Suyi with a strange gaze, but Suyi still stared at him intently. What's going on? What's he staring at me for? Is it because I have acne on my face? It's impossible, I looked in the mirror this morning. What's the situation? He won't be interested in me, will he? This. In just a few seconds, countless possibilities came to the boy's mind. He felt a bit anxious inside. What he didn't know was that Suye's heart was even more anxious. Ding! Finally, the elevator arrived on the first floor. As soon as the elevator door opened, the boy rushed out of the elevator, as if there were ghosts inside. The remaining boy looked at Suyi with some fear. After Suye's gaze turned to him, the boy screamed and rushed out of the elevator. Collect and follow up. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. When I Don't Exist. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. When I Don't Exist. Suyi scratched his head and walked out of the elevator. The reaction of those two boys just now has already alarmed many people in the lobby on the first floor, many of whom are looking at him. These people didn't know what had happened, they just glanced away. To be honest, it's a bit awkward, but it seems quite interesting. I seem to be starting to enjoy the whole thing. As for whether it has caused psychological trauma to those two contestants, Suyi doesn't care. If you don't have this psychological quality, then you can't enter the entertainment industry. At this moment, the sound of the system rang in Suye's ear. The host completes the beginner guidance task and earns a reward of 10 points. This point seems quite easy to earn. Forget it, it's all coming down anyway. Let's go eat. Suyi walked straight towards the gate. Beginner Guide Task 2 opens. Please invite the host to a restaurant for a meal, sit with a stranger, and complete the task with a reward of 15 points. Suyi suddenly smiled. This task is not difficult, it's just a table fight with a stranger. Isn't that very normal? It's much worse than the previous task. Can this also be called a whole job? That's all for your abilities in the system. Suyi goes out and finds a fast food restaurant, which sells liangpi rugamo. In theory, as an artist, one should not indulge oneself so much, but Suyi doesn't care. Eat whatever you want and wait until you gain weight. As soon as he entered the door, Suyi was stunned. There was only a couple sitting in the restaurant, which only occupied one table. There are at least a dozen tables in the restaurant, and the other tables are all empty. Suyi immediately became foolish. Leave an empty table and don't sit with strangers. Isn't this sick? The system said you were waiting for me here. Suyi suddenly felt embarrassed and wanted to touch the floor with his toes. Forget it, I'll change to another store. Suyi is about to leave. Task requirement. This is the only store. You're amazing. I'll give you a thumbs up. Suyi withdrew his steps that had already been taken and went to the counter to order food and start waiting. Not long after, the waiter put the food on his plate. Suyi picked up the plate and walked towards a corner of the restaurant. On the small table in the corner sat a couple, who were now affectionate and enjoying their small world together. Baby, I'll feed you. Don't worry, there are still people here. It's okay, we're in the corner, others won't notice. The boy scooped out a spoonful of congee and handed it to the girl's mouth. At this moment, the two of them felt a darkness before their eyes. Immediately, a plate was placed on their table. Suyi sat across from them expressionlessly. The boy's movements suddenly froze. Suyi didn't speak either. After putting down the plate, he started eating, looking as if there was no one around. This couple looked at the empty table around them, they were all dumbfounded. At this moment, Su Ye's toes were buttoned on the soles of his shoes, and he was eating with a heavy head. The couple stared at Su Yi for a while, and the boy put down the spoon in his hand. Su Yi looked up and said, "Don't worry about me, you guys keep going." "Are you sick?" the boy couldn't help but rage. "How can you curse people?" Su Yi asked in response. The girl on the side grabbed the boy's arm and said with a disdainful expression, forget it, don't tell him, this person must have some problems." The boy then suppressed his anger and said, "Change the table." The two immediately picked up the plate in front of them, got up, and moved it to another table. Seeing that Su Yi had not followed, the couple breathed a sigh of relief. The boy scooped out another spoonful of congee and said with a smile, "Baby, let's continue." The girl also smiled and said, "Disgusting." Although she said so, the girl still opened her mouth and prepared to welcome the boy's fill. Just as the spoonful of porridge was about to enter the girl's mouth, their eyes darkened again. Su Yi sat opposite the two of them holding a plate. Su Yi remained silent, putting down the plate and eating silently. The boy's movements froze again. "I'm going in soon, what do you mean?" Su Yi now feels like crying without tears, and he doesn't want to either. But just as the couple left, the system prompt popped up again. Detected that the task is about to fail. Please note that the host must have dinner with strangers. To be honest, Su Yi is afraid of being beaten. But there's no other way. Task failed, system unbound. Of course, Su Yi will never admit that he finds this matter very exciting. Su Yi simply followed over with a plate. The boy's forehead was bulging with veins, clearly on the edge of anger. The girl quickly grabbed the boy's arm and advised him, "Don't think too much about mental illness." The boy angrily put down the spoon in his hand. "Change the table." The girl nodded. The two of them picked up their plates and walked towards another table. As soon as he took a step, the boy immediately looked at Su Yi. Su Yi is still sitting at the table. The boy finally felt at ease and took 2 more steps forward, quickly turning back. Seeing Su Yi still sitting at the table, he finally felt at ease and continued walking. When he and his girlfriend arrived at another table and looked back again. Seeing that Su Yi didn't follow up, he said, "Let's eat here." The two breathed a sigh of relief and sat down on the table, ready to eat. Bang! With a soft noise, another plate was placed across the table, and Su Yi sat across from them again. Su Yi smiled and said, "I like to be lively, so just treat me as non-existent and continue." After speaking, Su Yi ate with his head down. At this moment, the boy's fists were clenched tightly. My girlfriend quickly advised, all right, let's just eat like this. Don't get angry with mental illness. It's not illegal for mental illness to hit people. As soon as these words were spoken, the boy's fist immediately loosened. The baby is right. I don't have the same understanding as him. I will feed you later when we go to the hotel. I hate it. The couple glanced at Su Yi, their gaze fixed on a fool. Su Yi was focused on eating. Unfortunately, the table across from me hasn't been changed, it's a bit less fun. Su Yi let out a sigh in his heart. In no time, he cleaned up all the food in front of him. The little couple hadn't finished their meal yet, so he got up and left. Seeing Su Yi leave, the couple finally breathed a sigh of relief. Who the hell is this person? The boy muttered. It's just a mental illness, the girl said. Their voices also became louder. At this moment, Su Yi finally walked out of the restaurant and took a deep breath. Comfortable. The sound of the system rang in his ear. The host completes beginner guidance task 2 and earns a reward of 15 points. Not bad, there's another 25 points difference to start the lottery. Su Yi feels that his current state is very good. The whole job, I seem to understand it a bit, is to do some outrageous things. Suyi also analyzed the so-called whole life in his mind. At this moment, the system's task was released. Beginner's Guide Task 3. Invite the host to go to the men's restroom to urinate, double row with strangers, task rewards 25 points, collect and follow up. This book only has system tasks at the beginning, which are designed to help the protagonist understand the whole process. Therefore, it is a beginner-guided task. Please be patient and continue reading. The rest of the book is mostly played by the protagonist himself, and even if there are tasks, they are guiding. This book does not rely on tasks to push the plot. And if every time the content of the whole activity is expressed through tasks, it's so boring. Please take a look below, thank you. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Strong people never complain about the environment. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Strong people never complained about the environment. Su Ye's face twitched instantly. As a seasoned old man, when going to the restroom to urinate, I try to separate myself from others in a small urinal. This is the dignity of men. Why are you getting so close? Do you want to discuss philosophy with someone next to you? Is this sick? Oh, the task released by the system, it's okay then. I'm just 25 points away from the lottery, giving up halfway is not my personality, I'll do it. Suyi craves rewards from the system, there's nothing he can do, he really needs them. To get around in this deep water circle, one must have some reliance. The system is his reliance. Isn't it just a double-row toilet? Suyi walked towards the TV station building. The public toilets outside are all single rooms and cannot have double rows. The restroom in the TV station is a large toilet that can be double row. To complete the task, one still needs to go in. When Suyi arrived at the first floor, he happened to encounter the two contestants he had encountered before when he went downstairs. After seeing Suyi, the two contestants showed a look of fear on their faces and quickly quickened their steps towards the elevator. A boy immediately pressed the button to go upstairs, occasionally turning back to look at Suyi. When the elevator door opened, the two immediately rushed in. The boy frantically pressed the door close button until the elevator door closed, and then breathed a sigh of relief. Young people are still too immature, their skin is not thick enough. Suyi glanced at these two people and found the bathroom on the first floor. He walked into the men's restroom, but it was empty. System, how can I double row without anyone here? The system sounds. The host has made rapid progress and has learned to search for problems on their own. The host and others can come. Su Ye's expression suddenly twitched. I didn't guess wrong, it's really true. Double row means double row. How can one go to the bathroom alone? Lousy, wait. Suyi stood at the entrance of the men's restroom, squatting and guarding. Finally, sound came from outside. Xiao Zhang, go ahead and get busy. I'll go to the restroom, a thick middle-aged man's voice rang out. Su Ye's face showed a joyful expression. Here we go. Sure enough, a middle-aged man walked into the door. This man is wearing a suit without a tie, and at first glance he appears to be a leader of a television station. Su Ye's heart suddenly began to murmur. He's a little artist, there's no need to offend the leaders on stage. Double row with the leader. What should we do if we hit the leader? Task requirement. It's him, the strong never complain about the environment. If you get it, I'll go. Zhang Guangrong is the director of Tomorrow's Superstar and was about to go to the bathroom when he saw Suyi squatting at the door. He doesn't know Suyi, but judging from his appearance, he should be one of the contestants for Tomorrow's Superstar. Zhang Guangrong smiled and said, Young man, do you still have to queue up with so many people inside? Suyi awkwardly smiled and said, No need, no one. What are you standing at the door for? Zhang Guangrong asked in confusion. Wait for someone, Suyi said. Zhang Guangrong's mind is full of question marks. Don't you and others stand in the hallway waiting? Why are you running to the restroom door? Don't you dislike the smell? Zhang Guangrong remained calm and said, "Okay, I'll go first." He entered the restroom, originally intending to stand at the urinal at the door, but suddenly thought of Su Yi standing at the door. After some thought, I took a few steps inward and stood in the middle position. He untied the belt and took out the gun. At this moment, Su Yi walked in and walked straight towards him. Zhang Guangrong had some doubts, but he couldn't use it all at once. Su Yi walked up to him and also took out his gun. Oh! Zhang Guangrong suddenly became foolish. What's your problem? Relying on youth to bully an old comrade like me. There are so many urinals inside, what do you mean by being right next to me? Do you think I envy you? Zhang Guangrong felt uncomfortable all over. But he's a director, can he leave? He cannot leave. Moreover, as he gets older, he's not as effective as he was when he was young. A sizzling sound sounded. Su Yi solved his physiological needs cleanly and efficiently. He immediately turned his head to look at Zhang Guangrong and smiled, saying, "What a coincidence." Zhang Guangrong has always been kind to people, and it's not good to ignore Su Yi. He smiled and said, "Aren't you waiting for someone?" Su Yi lifted his pants and said, "We'll wait." "Oh," Zhang Guangrong subconsciously said. "Goodbye." Su Yi greeted and turned around to leave the toilet. Zhang Guangrong suddenly came to his senses. "Are you waiting for me? Just to be in the bathroom with me, double row. This kid must have some flaws." At this moment, Su Yi has already arrived at the elevator entrance. At this moment, there are many people waiting at the elevator entrance. It's lunchtime now, and many TV station staff have finished their meals and come back to prepare for their lunch break. After looking around at the people, Su Yi took a few steps back. Ding! The elevator arrived on the first floor. Everyone rushed in, then turned around and looked at the elevator entrance. Su Yi was the last one to walk in. The elevator door slowly closed. But Su Yi didn't turn around. He stared at an old man in front of him, expressionless. In an instant, the entire elevator fell silent. Congratulations to the host. You have learned to draw inferences from one example to another. Novice guides you to complete task 3 and earns a reward of 25 points. The host independently completes the whole life activity and earns a reward of 5 points. Any active behavior of the host can earn points rewards, and the value depends on the situation. The beginner guidance task has ended. Congratulations to the host for joining and wish the host a pleasant time. The host receives a beginner's gift package, which includes 3 meowing fruits, 1 immersion fruit, and 1 beauty fruit. The sound of the system rang in Su Ye's ear. Su Yi felt a sense of joy in his heart. Sure enough. I have perfectly mastered how to manipulate it. It's not too difficult either. The others in the elevator are already dumbfounded. Everyone looked at Su Yi from time to time. The old man who was being stared at by Su Yi rushed out of the elevator door as soon as it opened, and fled in a panic. However, Su Yi still did not turn around. He remained expressionless facing inside the elevator. Finally, the last person in the elevator left. Su Yi just turned around. Sleeping trough. I forgot to press the floor. Su Yi quickly pressed down on the floor where he was located. After waiting, he ran to his training room and immediately turned on the system. He already has 55 points now and can start a lottery. System, I want a lottery. The host can choose songs, movies, literature, and other categories for the lottery. I choose a song. Su Yi is extremely excited, and once he gets the song, he will be stable tonight. It doesn't matter whether self-introduction is good or not, it all depends on one's strength. Lucky draw successful. Congratulations to the host for winning the song Love You at 105 degrees Celsius. The corresponding song has been distributed to the system repository, and the host can view it at any time. Su Ye's eyes suddenly widened. He had also heard this song in his previous life, and it was popular online for a while back then. It has to be said that it is very brainwashing, and the melody of the song is also light and lively, very positive energy. In fact, this song is a Watson's advertising song, but it's not a problem to bring it out separately. If we sing this song tonight, the venue will definitely heat up. Advancing is definitely enough. Suyi opens the system warehouse. The system repository is similar to the item column of a game, with many compartments. The first box prominently reads, "You who love 105 degrees Celsius." The other few compartments contain fruits of different colors, which should be the contents of the system beginner's gift package. Suyi first chose this song. Some options appear below. He can choose to play, as well as extract accompaniment, score, and so on. Suyi immediately chose to play. The lively sound of music echoed in his ears. At the end of the current performance, voices rang out. Super Idol's smile is not as sweet as yours. After listening to the first sentence, Suyi became foolish. How the hell did you give me the Tinger version? Collect and follow up. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Do I Know You? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Do I Know You? In his previous life on Earth, Suyi was a senior Bilibili user. Tinger also occasionally posts some of his covered songs on Bilibili. This song, Love You at 105 degrees Celsius, is one of Tengaer's cover songs. Tinger's voice is so distinctive that it can be easily heard. Suyi is currently confused. If the original song gives people a feeling of sweetness, warmth, and clarity, the feeling given by the version of Nat Angel is turbid and vast. Netizens jokingly refer to the original version as advertising for distilled water, while the Tengaer version is advertising for vodka. To summarize Tinger's singing style, it is the hot-mouthed sound. System, even if you give me a high-quality male version of humans, why did you give me the Tengaer version? The system sound is coming. Does the host not think that singing this song on stage is also a form of manipulation behavior? System task release. Please sing this song with Tinger's singing style on tonight's program. The completion of the task will receive a guaranteed reward of 50 points. This task may not be completed, and there will be no punishment for not completing it. I think you're right. Suyi recognized it. It has to be said that the whole job has to be a system. This task sounds very exciting. But performing in front of the camera is really shameful, isn't it? The previous 3 beginner tasks were completed immediately. But once done on the show, there is no room for redemption. Suyi looked at the handsome face in the mirror and remained silent for a long time. At first, he entered the entertainment industry and also wanted to rely on this face to become a popular celebrity. As a result, it's not his turn to become a popular celebrity, and the artists in the company still have to queue up to become them. There is no chance to become the top tier. Ultimately, this system is the only one he can rely on. The downside is that he may be ridiculed by netizens in groups after he performs well on the show. It is even possible that they will be eliminated in the first round of the competition. Since I want to clean up, let's clean up a bit thoroughly. Black and red are also red. Once I make enough money, I'll stop. In a few months, netizens will definitely forget about me. Suyi comforted himself for a moment. He first checked the other items in the system. Miaoin fruit. After taking it, the host's vocal skills will be upgraded to level A within the next 10 minutes, and can be permanently enhanced by 1 point of the host's vocal skills. Immersion fruit. After the host takes it, they can read books, scripts, movies, etc. and choose the characters to immerse themselves, lasting for 1 hour. Appearance fruit. After the host takes it, their appearance is increased by 1 point. The things in the beginner's gift pack are quite useful. Suyi took out the beauty fruit, which was yellow and looked crystal clear when held in his hand. The system item cannot be seen by anyone except the host. The system prompted. Suyi also ate this beauty fruit. The fruit melts at the entrance and disappears without a trace. Suyi looked in the mirror and found that his appearance had undergone some changes. Some dark spots on the face have disappeared, and the overall feeling has also improved significantly. Is this really useful? After this fruit fell, Suyi completely believed in this system. Whether it's life or death, it's up to tonight. Let's practice singing well. Although this wonderful sound fruit can enhance his vocal skills, it is not an easy task to sing the entire piece with Tengaer's singing style. Suyi never fights unprepared battles. He opened the items section and found that the system also provided singing techniques for the song, Love You at 105 degrees Celsius. Learning Tengaer's singing style is not something that can be easily imitated. Tengaer's basic skills are very strong. When transitioning between strength and weakness, his pharyngeal technique runs through the entire process, and he has excellent control over the flow and strength of his breath. Learning the singing style of such a strong person is also a challenge for Suyi himself. He spent the whole afternoon practicing singing in the training room. After he started practicing, he suddenly felt a subtle heat coming from his throat. After singing a song, a system prompt appeared in front of me. Vocal plus 0.1, can it still be like this? Suyi understood the meaning of the system that practice can improve skills. This is a system that can improve proficiency. Suyi became even more energetic. An afternoon of singing practice has improved his vocal skills by 2 points. At 6 o'clock in the afternoon, there was a knock on the door. Agent Zhengyu pushed open the door and walked in. Zhengyu had a big, long face and was wearing glasses. He was already 31 years old this year and could be considered an elderly person in the entertainment industry. As soon as Zhengyu entered, he asked, "How are you preparing?" Suyi sneered, "You're pretty well prepared, right?" Zhengyu has high hopes for him to participate in the program this time. Not to mention winning the final championship, at least we need to persevere for a few more rounds. You should know that it's not easy to win this opportunity. But Zhengyu needs to know that the song he has prepared may be explosive. That's good, let's go downstairs and eat. Relax and don't put too much pressure on yourself. Suyi responded and the two of them went out together, walking towards the elevator. Zhengyu smiled and said, "When I first came up, I heard that one of the contestants today had a mental illness. He didn't turn around when he got into the elevator and just liked to stare at the people inside. It was quite interesting, but I don't know who it was." Suyi felt a bit embarrassed for a moment and said, "Is it possible that you know this person? Maybe I know each other." Many of the contestants this time said they were ordinary people, but not all of them were companies behind them. Maybe I knew each other because they were under too much pressure and had some mental problems. Zhengyu clearly did not realize the seriousness of the problem. At the elevator entrance, there are already many people waiting. Ding! The elevator reached the floor. Zhengyu smiled and said, "Enter." However, Suyi took a step back. Zhengyu walked in on his own, and others also rushed in. Suyi was the last to walk into the elevator. In the elevator, there were quite a few people, leaving only one empty seat at the entrance. After Suyi stands still. He didn't turn around. In an instant, the atmosphere in the elevator became anxious. Zhengyu, who was originally still smiling, had a stiff smile on his face. Everyone's gaze in the elevator fell on Suyi's face. The most awkward one is the boy in front of Suyi. The boy had planned to take out his phone and play for a while, but when he looked up, he saw Suyi's hooked gaze. Ah, this Zhengyuren is already numb. Dare, that lunatic is you. In the elevator, everyone fell silent. Finally, the elevator reached the first floor. Ding! As the prompt sound sounded, the elevator door slowly opened. The people inside immediately rushed out towards the outside. The boy who was being stared at by Su Yi was the fastest, almost disappearing from sight in the blink of an eye. After everyone went out, only Zheng Yu remained. Zheng Yu glanced at Su Yi and then walked towards the outside. "Brother Yu, what will we eat later?" Su Yi followed up and asked. "Who are you? Do I know you?" Zheng Yu asked in confusion. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. I'm not sick. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. I'm not sick. Zheng Yu walked out of the building of Anqing television station without saying a word to Su Yi. At the entrance of the building, a black nanny car is parked outside. This car was assigned by the company to Zheng Yu, and he usually uses it when he goes out with artists. Zheng Yu walked to the door of the car and stopped. The car door slowly opened and he walked in. Su Yi immediately followed in. After entering, he saw a young woman sitting in the back of the car. This woman is wearing a white vest, with a pair of denim shorts on her lower body, and two long white legs exposed, slender and straight. His eyes were bright and lively, his nose bridge was high and straight, and his long hair was draped over his shoulders, giving people a feeling of being a cold goddess. "Chen Jie." Su Yi said hello. This person is called Chen Yusen, who is also an artist led by Zheng Yu and is a singer. However, Chen Yusen's popularity is much higher than that of Su Yi, with over 3 million followers on Weibo, making her a veteran in the industry. It's just that there haven't been any explosive works, and in the past few years of debut, they have been lukewarm. Chen Yusen nodded slightly and responded with a smile. Su Yi sat in the middle row of seats, next to Zheng Yu. "Wait for the car door to close and the driver will drive away from here." Zheng Yu sighed and said, "Su Yi, I didn't expect this program to put so much pressure on you. I'm very worried about your current situation." Chen Yusen in the back row raised her head, her gaze filled with confusion. "Brother Yu, I don't have that much pressure," Su Yi said. "No. What happened to you in the elevator just now? Aren't you sick?" Zheng Yu couldn't help but gasp. "I'm playing," Su Yi explained. "I didn't see you playing like that." Chen Yusen became even more curious and couldn't help but ask, "Brother Yu, what's going on?" This kid got into the elevator like a lunatic, staring at the people inside without turning around. "I don't even know what to say." Zheng Yu was very angry. Chen Yusen chuckled and glanced at Su Yi. "Xiao Yi, don't be like this. When you are a celebrity, you still need to pay attention, especially in public places. You should maintain a good image. Even if you are not popular now, you should also pay attention, otherwise it won't look good when you are dug up by others after you become popular." Chen Yusen said earnestly. She suddenly thought of the scene in the elevator and couldn't help but smile on her face. "I'm not telling you, how did you think of doing this?" "This." Su Yi scratched his head. Relaxation should also find other ways to relax, don't be mistaken for mental illness. The program will start tonight, you should pay attention, eat light food later, and drink less water. Chen Yusen began to advise. Chen Yusen also debuted on a talent show and has a lot of experience. After Chen Yusen finished speaking, Su Yi said, "Thank you, Sister Chen. I understand." Zheng Yu angrily said, "I don't just need to know. Don't make me sick again, pay attention to my appearance." "Okay, Brother Yu." Su Yi can only use consecutive names. These two people, like big brothers and sisters, are also difficult for him to refute. "Don't get sick." Zheng Yu said again. "Okay Yuga." Not long after, the car drove to the dining area. The driver drove the car to the entrance of the restaurant, and the car door automatically opened. The doorman outside walked forward and reached out his hand in white gloves, placing it on the roof of the car. "Sir, please get off the car slowly, little heart," the doorman smiled. "Get off the car," Zheng Yudao said. After speaking, Jingyu got off the car first. However, Suyi remained motionless. Chen Yusen in the back row was puzzled and said, "Xiao Yi, why don't you get off the car?" Suyi spoke awkwardly and said, "Sister Chen, please get off the car first and I'll pack up some things." Chen Yusen is not polite either, they are both very familiar now. After putting on sunglasses, she crawled out of the back row and her two big white legs flashed past Suyi. At this moment, Suyi had no intention of paying attention to these two big white legs. Because a system prompt appeared in front of his eyes. At this moment, it's not perfect. When should we wait? Only the weak care about the gaze of others. As soon as the car stopped here, Suyi had a bold idea in his heart. Implement the whole process to the end. But he hesitated a bit, and the system prompt popped up. Suyi glanced at Jingyu and Chen Yusen outside. They had just got off the car when Jingyu was talking to the doorman. After a while, Jingyu has finished chatting with the doorman. He turned his head to look at Suyi. "Why haven't you come down yet?" Chen Yusen also looked over. Suyi swallowed his saliva and made up his mind. "Brother Yu, I'm sorry." He whispered in his heart and then said to the driver, "Master, please open all the car doors." The driver looked at Suyi in confusion, with big doubts in his small eyes. "What are you doing?" "Just open the door," Suyi said. The driver didn't ask any further and pressed the door open button. Suddenly, all the doors of this business car were opened. Suyi continued, "Master, could you please open the trunk door as well?" The driver remained silent and pressed the button. The rear door of the car also slowly opens. Outside, Jingyu and Chen Yusen were both dumbfounded. "What are you doing with the trunk? Don't you have to work so hard on the next car, do you?" Even the doorman stared at Suyi with some confusion, his mind full of question marks. At this moment, Suyi slowly stood up. However, he did not get off the car and immediately walked towards the back seat after getting up. After he arrived at the back seat, he climbed onto the back seat. Then he flipped over the backrest of the back seat, and entered the trunk. Suyi jumped out of the car from the trunk, tidied up his pants and clothes, and after a graceful turn, closed the trunk. He walked up to Jingyu and Chen Yusen. "Alright, brother Yu, sister Chen, let's go eat," Suyi smiled. At the entrance, everyone was stunned. In the car, the driver opened his mouth and stared at Suyi. The gatekeeper had a silly expression on his face. "Are you fucking sick? Leave the car door still and leave the trunk behind." Chen Yusen, who has always been cold, also slightly opened her mouth, but fortunately, her sunglasses covered her eyes and she couldn't see her gaze. Jingyu remained silent for 3 seconds. "Who is this person? Do you know him?" he said to Chen Yusen. Chen Yusen shook her head somewhat wooden. "It's good if you don't know each other, let's go." Jingyu turned around and rushed straight into the hotel gate. Chen Yusen finally realized and quickly lowered her head as she walked into the door. "I'm not sick, brother Yu." Suyi shouted loudly and chased after him. At the entrance, only the gatekeeper and driver were left staring at each other. The two exchanged a glance, and the atmosphere was somewhat awkward. The gatekeeper broke the somewhat silent scene. "Driver, is this just coming out?" The driver scratched his bald head and frowned, he wasn't like this before. "I think he might have to go in like this." "You mourn," said the doorman. "You are tired," the driver said. After speaking, the driver quickly closed the car door and drove away from here. In the hotel private room, Jingyu's eyebrows furrowed tightly, and Chen Yusen did the same. Suyi on the side was smiling. Chen Yusen was a bit worried and said, "Brother Yu, if you can't, take him to the hospital to see." Suyi immediately said, "I'm not sick, I'm fine, I'm really fine." Jingyu glanced at him and sighed, "This illness is not mild." End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Do you also want to eat melon seeds? You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 6. Do you also want to eat melon seeds? Zhengyu and Chen Yusen both looked at Su Yi with a worried expression on their faces. Su Ye's current mental state makes them a bit worried. This is no longer something that can be described as playing. You're okay once or twice, but with too many attempts, it's hard to make people think you're still normal. Su Yi hurriedly said, Brother Yu, do you think I'm not doing well now? I'm not sick at all, I'm really playing. Zhengyu sighed and looked at Chen Yusen helplessly. Chen Yusen nodded and whispered, let's just follow him in this situation. Zhengyu turned his head. Yes, I know you're playing. If tonight's program doesn't work, we won't participate. I'll see if I can find a reality show for you to play and relax later. Zhengyu's eyes showed a feeling of caring for fools. I have a program next month. If it's not possible, bring Xiao Yi over and relax, Chen Yusen said hastily. Zhengyu nodded. Watching these two people chatting, Su Yi felt that they really thought he was crazy. But he is not. Brother Yu, Su Yi explained. Don't say it, I never expected that the program Tomorrow's Superstar would put so much pressure on you. In the past year, I have indeed neglected you a bit. I will go back to the company and see if I can apply for a work-related injury. It's better not to participate in the evening program. Zhengyu said with some self-blame. I'm ready for the evening program, how could I not attend? Zhengyu and Chen Yusen were both stunned, looking at Su Yi with some surprise. What program are you preparing? Didn't you just sing a song? Zhengyu is aware of Su Ye's situation, and the two of them have also discussed this performance. Sing a song that is just right. I wrote a new song. When Su Yi finished speaking, Zhengyu's mind was filled with question marks. What level of skill can I not know? Can you still write songs? If it weren't for your handsome appearance and singing skills, voice and light entertainment wouldn't have signed a contract back then. But Su Yi can be said to be quite poor in writing songs. After all, he has not undergone any professional studies. Chen Yusen straightened her body, and her white vest bulged even more. She looked at Su Yi with great interest and said, Did you bring it? Let me take a look. Chen Yusen comes from a professional background in music, and her position in the music industry is definitely higher than that of Su Yi. I'll send you the lyrics and music. Zhengyu looked surprised and said, Did you really write it? As the topic shifted, Su Yi immediately took out his phone. The music files in the system repository can be extracted to the phone. He sent a copy of the extracted vocabulary file to Chen Yusen and Zhengyu. Chen Yusen picked up her phone and began to read it. Zhengyu muttered, Let me take a look. The private room quieted down. Su Yi took a deep breath. This matter is finally over. After a while, Chen Yusen lifted her head first. This song is quite interesting, but from a professional perspective, the lyrics and music are slightly ordinary, and the melody is brainwashing. Did you really write it? Chen Yusen had a shallow smile on the corner of her mouth. Yeah. Great, the lyrics are very sweet. If it were to be performed in the first episode of Tomorrow's Superstar, it would be enough. Chen Yusen can tell that this song is catchy. You have to wait until you hear how outstanding it is. From the current perspective, it's still pretty good. Su Yi smiled and looked at Zhengyu. Brother Yu, what do you think? Zhengyu Ma rubbed his chin and frowned as he looked at his phone. Well. He doesn't have any objections, it's because he can't understand. Zhengyu simply placed his phone on the table and said, Since Yusen said there's no problem, then there's no problem. You kid, give me a good performance, don't get sick. Okay, brother Yu. With this interruption, the meal was enjoyable and enjoyable. Unfortunately, Su Yi didn't dare to have a big meal and drank plain water without touching any drinks. It's really hard to say if there are any health issues when recording programs at night. After finishing their meal, the three of them returned to the car. The driver placed Suyi at the entrance of Anqing TV station. Jingyu cautioned, Suyi, don't put too much pressure, you're still young. This time, Suyi did not smile, but said seriously, I only have this chance. Jingyu's expression froze, and Chen Yusen inside also cast a concerned gaze. Jingyu patted Suye's shoulder and said, come on. Chen Yusen also smiled and gestured, Xiaoyi, come on. I will. The car door slowly closes. Chen Yusen has just finished recording a program and has been resting in Anqing for the past few days. Jingyu needs to go back to the company to handle some matters and register the copyright of Suye's song. Since you have written the song, don't worry about whether it's good or not, register first before proceeding. Both of these people are not available here to accompany Suyi in recording the program. In the car, Jingyu asked, did you say today that you were bringing Suyi on the show as a courtesy or to be honest? Chen Yusen smiled and said, it was originally polite, but now I think we should take him to see. Okay. After the car left, Suyi entered the entrance of the TV station. After tidying up the lounge prepared by the TV station, he went to the studio. The program starts at 8 p.m. Suyi first handed over the accompaniment of the song to the backstage staff and arranged for the performance to be performed later. By the time he finished putting on his makeup and arrived at the athletes' waiting room, there were already more than 10 people sitting here. A player who is familiar with oneself has already become one with others. The program, Tomorrow's Superstar, is only open to boys, and there are no girls on this program. Looking at the bunch of big men in the waiting room, Suyi couldn't even bring up any chicken feelings. The key is that these people are really all kinds of people. There were people holding their orchid fingers and talking, as well as long hair draped over their shoulders. Without careful examination, it was impossible to tell that they were a boy. The most terrifying thing is that there really is a female fashion guru coming up like this. Suyi now feels that he may have imagined these players too much. What kind of people are these? Of course, there must still be talented players, but Suyi is not familiar with this circle and he is not interested in inquiring. At this moment, two normal players entered the door. After these two contestants entered, they first scanned the area and soon saw Suyi sitting on the corner sofa. Their faces immediately changed. Both of them slowed down their steps and found a position that was some distance away from Suyi before sitting down. It's boring, Suyi muttered in his heart. These two people are the ones he met in the elevator before. As the time for recording the program approached, the number of people in the waiting room gradually increased. The originally noisy crowd gradually quieted down, even when speaking, they were speaking quietly. At this moment, a crisp sound suddenly rang out from the waiting room. Kaka. This crisp sound is extremely penetrating. It is very obvious in this room. And this voice is very familiar, everyone has heard it before. For a moment, everyone looked in the direction where the sound came from. On the sofa in the corner, Suyi sat slumped on it, holding a handful of melon seeds and nibbling on them. At this moment, all the players were dumbfounded. As the competition approached, you were actually munching on melon seeds in the waiting room. There are no melon seeds here at all. Where do you get your melon seeds? Kaka. The sound is still echoing. Suyi raised his head with some confusion and looked around. Do you also want to eat melon seeds? He asked. Collect, recommend, and follow up. Seeking various data. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Sister Honey is foolish. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Sister Honey is foolish. Is he eating melon seeds here? The competition is about to begin, isn't he nervous at all? Is he crazy or am I crazy? In an instant, countless ideas came to mind among these contestants. As a potential star, although we are not considered celebrities yet, we still need to pay attention to our image in every move. And eating melon seeds itself is not good for teeth. But are you not only eating melon seeds, or are you eating melon seeds in such situations? Isn't he the one in the elevator today? It seems like it's really him, then that's normal. This person has some brain problems. No wonder, which hospital released him? The contestants started whispering to each other. After communicating with each other, we finally know Suyi. This person is abnormal. There is a slight illness in the specification. Seeing no response, Suyi continued to eat melon seeds. He took the melon seeds when he was at the restaurant, and there were them on the table. He carried them directly in his pocket. I still got quite a few, I grabbed a lot. Host gains 5 points. A system prompt appeared in front of Suyi. After he got off the trunk earlier, the system gave him 3 points. This time it's 5 o'clock, 2 more than last time. Not bad, not bad. If you save up like this, you can start the lottery again. At this moment, Director Zhang Guanrong walked into the waiting room. He clapped his palm and attracted everyone's attention before saying, "Get ready, the live broadcast will start soon." That's right, the program, Tomorrow's Superstar, is live streaming. The entire program will be conducted in a live broadcast format, which is also the unique way of this program. Suyi heard Jingyu say that this program will also open its popularity chart later on. Ranking is determined by voting from the audience watching the program. This thing, Suyi, is hopeless. Who would vote for a mental illness? Just live like this, rely on the system to improve your heart power. After Zhang Guanrong finished speaking, he left. The other staff stood outside the camera. 3, 2, 1, start. With the voices of the staff, the program officially began live broadcasting. In the waiting room, the contestants all straightened up. There is a large screen in the waiting room that displays the situation of the competition venue. In the first round of the competition, the judges were Yenmi, a popular star in film, television, and music. On the big screen, Yenmi was wearing a shimmering silver buttock skirt, with 2 slender long legs exposed, and a pair of high heels with a straight-line strap on her feet. She has big eyes and a mature and youthful demeanor on her face. When Yenmi first debuted, she made her debut as an actress and later appeared in several popular TV dramas. She also started singing, releasing albums, and later appearing in movies. Her appearance can only be said to be very impressive, and the most attractive thing is her long legs. Many stockings brands also like to find her as their spokesperson. As a hot search frequent in the entertainment industry, appearing on this program left the contestant stunned. Yenmi slowly walked over the T-stage and made a few postures. Miss Mi's figure is amazing. Miss Mi, kill me. I can't tell it's a woman who's already 30 years old. At this point, as the live broadcast began, bullet comments had already appeared on the video website. The audience exclaimed in surprise. After the judges entered, the program officially began. In the waiting room, the staff called their names, and one contestant left the waiting room one after another. Suyi was munching on melon seeds while looking at the screen. At this point, a contestant has already arrived on stage. This contestant first danced and then introduced themselves. Yenmi picked up the microphone and smiled, saying, "Why are you attending this program?" The contestant said with a standard trained smile, "Because I don't know how to sing, I can come to the program Tomorrow's Superstar even if I don't know how to sing." Yenmi's expression froze directly. Suyi almost got melon seeds stuck in his throat. He thought he was invincible in the world, but to his surprise, there was someone braver than him. A burst of laughter came from the waiting room. What Suyi didn't know was that the live broadcast camera cut through the waiting room for several seconds. In these few seconds, he happened to be nibbling on melon seeds. Originally, the audience was confused by the contestant just now and didn't know what to say, but when this shot was cut, there were still sharp-eyed viewers who saw Suyi's actions. Who is that contestant? Did he just eat melon seeds? I also noticed that he was stuffing something into his mouth. it seems like it's really melon seeds. Why is he eating melon seeds here? For a moment, the barrage became lively. Backstage, Zhang Guangrong stared at the footage coming from various lenses. He also noticed the barrage online. Eating melon seeds. His gaze shifted to the scene in the waiting room. Take a closer look. Oh. So it's your kid. Zhang Guangrong suddenly remembered his experience in double-row toilets. Who put the melon seeds there? Zhang Guangrong said seriously. Director Zhang, it wasn't us who put it, it was he who took it himself, said a subordinate. Zhang Guangrong suddenly became speechless. Did you bring this melon seed yourself? You kid, there's something wrong with your specifications. Director Zhang, should I remind him? Asked the subordinate. No need, that's it. Zhang Guangrong looked at the discussion inside the barrage and found it quite interesting. This contestant is different from the other contestants. Not long after, the staff called Su Ye's name. Su Ye slowly got up, tidied up the melon seed peels, threw them into the trash can, and then walked out of the waiting room. Under the guidance of the staff, he arrived at the single-person waiting room. There is only one small table and one chair in this waiting room, which is decorated very beautifully. There are also cameras here. Hello, please wait here and listen to the prompts to enter, the staff smiled. Okay, thank you. After the staff left, he sat down on the chair. He took out another handful of melon seeds from his pocket and began to nibble on them. On stage, the performance of the contestants ends. After chatting for a while with the two judges and team members next to her, Yanmi raised the sign in her hand. The sign reads, "To be determined." This player unfortunately left the field. A person next to him said, "All right, let's invite the next contestant, his name is Su Yi. Let's see what he's doing in the waiting room now." On the large screen behind the stage, a scene of a single-person waiting room appeared. When the screen appears, it is accompanied by sound. Kaka. Yanmi, who originally had a smile on her face, felt as if she had been pressed the time-stop button. A pair of big eyes widened as they looked at the person on the screen. Yanmi was a bit surprised and said, "What is he doing?" "He seems to be eating melon seeds," said the person next to him. On the screen, Su Ye's image is displayed in real time. Su Ye is eating melon seeds. He's actually eating melon seeds. Yanmi couldn't believe it. At least a few million viewers are watching this program. Are you eating melon seeds in front of the camera? At this moment, Su Ye also heard a warning sound. He collected the melon seed skin and put it in his pocket, then pushed open the door of the waiting room and walked towards the stage. Seeking collection. Please follow up. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Singing and Organizing Activities. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Singing, X, and Whole Life, Square Root. The online barrage has been discussed with great enthusiasm. His name is Su Yi, right? Good guy, he's almost on stage and still eating melon seeds. He's not nervous at all. I'm a bit looking forward to his performance. Not to mention, he's quite handsome. Miss Me now has some doubts about life, hahaha. Su Ye's performance and Yanmi's expression made the audience overjoyed. This is the first time we have seen such a player. Not long after, Su Yi pushed open the stage door and walked in. When he entered, he casually ate a wonderful sound fruit in his mouth, elevating his vocal skills to a level. This stage is a studio of the production team, a small stage. The distance between the contestants and judges is very close, without any sense of alienation. The judges didn't sit on any big chairs, so they casually sat in the front. "Hello Teacher Yanmi," Su Yi said. Yanmi nodded slightly and asked, "Did you just eat melon seeds?" "Ah. Did you see it?" Su Yi said in surprise. He immediately stopped eating melon seeds when he heard the prompt just now. Did the production team cut the camera in advance? Suyi really didn't expect it. Yenmi shook her head helplessly. However, at this moment, Suyi said, "Do you want to eat it? I still have it in my pocket." Cough cough. Yenmi couldn't hold her tension anymore. The two members of the nearby gang also laughed. This program's effect is simply overwhelming. Yenmi is the first time she has encountered such a thing while participating in a program. The contestant asked her if she would eat melon seeds. The other contestants were also confused. Does he have any serious illness? I felt something was wrong since I met him today. I have serious doubts about his mental health. However, the popularity of the program increased, and Zhang Guangrong smiled awkwardly. This kid is really sick. Yenmi quickly recovered and smiled. Please introduce yourself first. Su Ye's self-introduction is very simple. After speaking, Yenmi picked up the folder in her hand. The A4 paper in the folder contains the lyrics of Su Ye's song. She looked at the title of the song and smiled. The song you sang this time is called, "You Love 105 Degrees Celsius." The lyrics look very sweet. Did you write them yourself? Suyi nodded. What type of song is this? Yenmi asked. An inspiring song, Suyi pondered without hesitation. Yenmi roughly scanned the lyrics. The lyrics use words such as sunshine, dreams, and love, making it clear that this song is a cheerful one. Just looking at these lyrics, you can probably think of which style the melody of the song is. She was looking forward to Su Ye's performance in her heart. Prior to this, no contestant had yet produced their own original songs to perform on stage. This song looks pretty good. Yenmi muttered to herself, then looked up at Su Yi with a gentle smile on her face. Honey, the lyrics are quite sweet and feel very comfortable, said the person next to her. I'm also interested in this song, it should sound great when sung. That's right, Su Ye's voice should be clear, I can't wait a bit. The two members of the gang team communicated and brought the atmosphere to the scene. If you're ready, start performing, Yenmi smiled. Looking at the expressions of these three people, Su Yi felt his toes poking at the ground. My performance may be a bit different from what you imagine. Okay, Miss Honey. Su Yi gave a gesture. The accompaniment gradually sounded. Tinger's version of the song begins with a melodious piano sound. The melody is gentle and carries a gentle feeling, refreshing the heart and soul. When the melody sounded, Yenmi and the three of them all smiled. This taste is right. That's the taste. After the melody ended, Su Yi spoke up. He raised the microphone to his mouth. Super Idol's smile is not as sweet as yours. After he finished singing this sentence, Yen Miran, who was already preparing to shake her body with the melody, was stunned. I was just stunned and my body froze. The same goes for the members of the two judges and help teams around her. What the hell is this? What is your singing style? Are you singing seriously? In an instant, Yenmi's mind was filled with countless question marks. At this moment, in the video live broadcast room of Tomorrow's Superstar. At the moment Su Yi spoke, the barrage exploded. Attention, this is not a still screen. Ha ha ha. What kind of voice is that? How can I feel like I'm on the grassland? What super idol? You're a super grassland cowherd. Miss Me is going crazy. Among the previous performers, there were those who sang out of tune and those who couldn't sing or dance blindly. These poor performers are also within everyone's acceptable range of problems. Kushuye's performance is really outrageous. He didn't run out of tune and sang very well, but it sounded strange. The sunshine of August noon is not as dazzling as yours. You, who love 105 degrees, are dripping with pure distilled water. You don't know how cute you are, but after falling, you'll just stand up with a silly smile. You never fail easily, and your persistence towards your dreams has never changed. Yenmi's eyebrows gradually furrowed, and she finally felt something was wrong. This is not a problem with the lyrics, nor is it a problem with the music. But it's the singer's problem. Your singing style is not right. Why did you sing a sweet song like this? Have you ever learned to sing? Yenmi had already roared loudly in her heart. Su Yi is currently performing seriously. At the moment he opened his voice, he knew there was no turning back. Since that's the case, let's break the jar and throw it. I'm not singing. I'm doing some pranks. It's very reassuring when you say to me, don't be afraid of me around, let me come. Bravely pursuing one's dreams, that steadfast appearance. The melody has reached this point, and the chorus is about to begin. During this pause, Yenmi picked up the A4 paper in her hand and carefully read it several times. Countless bullets floated over the barrage. Miss Me now has some doubts about whether she heard it wrong, hahaha. Is he singing distilled water? How do I feel like he's singing, Hair Guatu, I understand what Su Yi means by inspiring, and now I feel like I can go to the grassland to herd cows. Why does his singing style have a feeling of me driving my car on an endless grassland, but the wheels of the car are square? The audience was all overjoyed. It's the first time I've heard such a song. Not only them, but also the other contestants have the same idea. What are you doing? Zhang Guangrong in the background was also staring at the screen in amazement. I was careless. This guy is so his mother alive. But when he saw the number of people in the live broadcast room at this moment, he immediately smiled happily. Earn it. Earn it. Su Yi continued to sing, and he had completely let himself go, even his body swaying rhythmically. Super Idol's smile is not as sweet as yours. The sunshine of August noon is not as dazzling as yours. You, who love 105 degrees, are dripping with pure distilled water. In this unique era that belongs to you. Don't be afraid of failure, have a joyful love. You, who love 105 degrees, are dripping with pure distilled water. Before long, the song came to an end. After singing the last sentence, the accompaniment gradually faded away. Su Yi smiled slightly and said, "Honey, my performance is over." Yenmi looked at the A4 paper in her hand, then at Su Yi, with a somewhat bewildered expression on her face. She took a deep breath, her big eyes fixed on Su Yi, and said seriously, "Who taught you how to sing like that?" End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Don't worry about advancing to this level. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9. Don't worry about advancing to this level. Su Yi knew that singing like this was definitely abnormal. If he were Tengaer, he would still be fine, after all, that's how they sing. But today's performance is the debut of this song in this world. Su Yi smiled awkwardly and said, "Honey, I taught myself." Yenmi stared at the lyrics on her hand again. You. She spoke halfway, but didn't know what to say. If you want to say that Su Yi doesn't sing well, then that's not true. His singing skills are not bad even among professional singers. There was no out of tune, and the atmosphere throughout the process was also very steady. Even his singing style can be said to be very skilled. But it just doesn't sound right. The person next to him smiled and said, "Miss, what do you think?" Yenmi pinched her eyebrows and smiled helplessly. From a singing perspective, your skills are very good, and I have read your profile. As someone who has not undergone professional learning, it is already quite good to be able to create such a song. Su Ye's heart was pounding at this moment. He really doesn't know if he can get by singing like this. At this moment, a series of bullet comments drifted through the live broadcast room. Oh no. Is that just enough? I think I sang it quite well, but don't sing it next time. I can feel that Su Ye's singing skills are very good, but why did he sing like this? I must have given it, I really want to see what his next performance is. The audience went crazy with joy. As soon as Su Yi arrived, the overall art style of the program became abnormal. I look so happy. Yenmi hesitated this time, she really didn't know if she should have given it. After pausing for several seconds, Yenmi finally grabbed the sign next to her. She lifted the sign and slowly said, "Although your singing is not right, I have still given it to you. You are the first contestant on this program to come up with an original song, and I look forward to your next performance." The sign is prominently written with the words, "Advanced." Suyi smiled and said, "Thank you, Miss Me." Yenmi smiled and wondered why she couldn't be happy to advance this guy. The person next to him smiled and said, "Come on, every contestant who advances has a gift." Suyi quickly ran over. Yenmi took out a can of candy and handed it to Suyi. "Send you candy." Suyi took the candy, which was a transparent small glass bottle filled with colorful fruit candies. A small gift, not very valuable, valuable in the heart. At this moment, Suyi took a handful from his pocket, then spread out his hand and placed the melon seeds on the table in front of Yenmi. Suyi smiled and said, "Honey, please have some melon seeds." Yenmi's expression froze again. "Ha ha ha. He really has melon seeds in his pocket. Suyi is too mischievous." The audience is happy again. Yenmi looked speechless and said, "You should hurry back." Suyi then turned around and left the stage. Yenmi looked at the melon seeds on the table and regretted it for a moment. "I shouldn't have promoted him." Yenmi reached out to cover her face with a helpless expression. When Suyi returned to the waiting room, the other contestants looked at his expression very strangely. Suyi sat in his seat and took out a candy to eat. "It's quite sweet." At around 10 p.m., the first episode of tomorrow's Superstar program officially ended. The advancing contestants were also called together, and Zhang Guangrong came to everyone and began to give orders for the next steps. Zhang Guangrong's gaze swept over the crowd and he smiled. "Next is our second episode, which will be in the form of a live broadcast. It's just a public performance stage. Next, all the contestants will live in pairs in the apartment arranged by our program team, and your life process will also be partially broadcasted." Zhang Guangrong said a lot of things to pay attention to in the future. Tomorrow's Superstar is somewhat like a cultivation program. The daily training and daily life of the subsequent contestants will be broadcasted to the audience according to the situation. In short, after advancing, one thing is that there is no need to worry about accommodation. The program team has arranged it. Suyi also breathed a sigh in his heart. Finally, we have advanced. When he returned to the hotel, the popularity of the first episode of tomorrow's Superstar program online had already risen. Originally, people thought it was just an ordinary talent show. Unexpectedly, a player like Suyi emerged. The topic of, "Who taught you how to sing like this?" has directly become the third trending topic. In this Weibo post, there is also a video of Suyi singing. Xiao Wu is a person who doesn't watch variety shows very much. She just finished work at around 10 o'clock today and is planning to open a TV drama to watch before going to bed. On the subway home, she opened her phone to browse Weibo and saw the hot search. Xiao Wu curiously clicked in. "You, who love 105 degrees Celsius. Does the title of this song seem like a love song? Who taught you how to sing like this? Can this contestant named Suyi still sing, Flowers? Xiao Wu casually clicked in, but she didn't have much hope either. Suyi is a singer with no fame, she doesn't even know him. However, when Suye's singing voice sounded in her headphones in the video, Xiao Wu's body trembled and he felt numb. Who taught you how to sing like this? Xiao Wu also had this idea in his heart. This singing style carries a sense of vastness, like an endless grassland. But this vast grassland is as undulating as mountains. Shocking people for a moment. Although it sounds strange, why does it get more and more catchy as you listen? After looking over it, Xiao Wu saw Yenmi's question behind him and burst out laughing. The first time I saw a contestant who turned the judges' faces green. Xiao Wu looked very happy. This song is too catchy. Go and watch the program Tomorrow's Superstar. There are still many people like Xiao Wu, and they all clicked on this hot search to take a look. At first glance, I can't go out anymore. Su Ye's singing is simply too brainwashing. It's that kind of weird, but I still want to take another look. Does Su Ye have Weibo? I couldn't find it. Su Ye, hurry up and register a Weibo account. I want to follow you. This contestant seems to have some serious illness. Under the topic, netizens discussed enthusiastically. At night. Zheng Yu had just finished his work, took out his phone, opened Weibo, and was ready to see what news was in the entertainment industry today. Soon, he also saw that topic. Who taught you how to sing like this? What is this? Zheng Yu frowned and nodded in. I'll go. Surprisingly, Su Yi has been on the trending list. He's still the third one on the trending list. He's making a name for himself. Zheng Yu became excited for a moment. Su Yi has never been on a hot search before, this is the rhythm of becoming popular. Sure enough, the original song he sang is still very good. Zheng Yu looked relieved. Gold always shines, it's time for Su Yi to stand out. Let me hear how Su Yi sings. Zheng Yu clicked on the video. The video started playing. After Su Yi started singing, the smile on Zheng Yu's face instantly disappeared. He stared at his phone screen with a black face and was stunned. Damn it, who taught you how to sing like this? Zheng Yu angrily cursed directly. How could you sing such a good song for me? After watching the video, Zheng Yu felt embarrassed on his face. It's okay if you don't want this to advance. Zheng Yu picked up his phone and made a direct call. Boss, how much does it cost to remove a hot search? End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Correct opening method. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10 Correct opening method. Zheng Yu directly called the boss of Sound and Light Entertainment. Sound and Light Entertainment is a small entertainment company based in Ancheng, with a small number of artists and only one top-tier celebrity. A company of this size is just a small fry in the entertainment industry. The boss has never encountered such a thing as withdrawing hot searches in his lifetime. Wang Su, the owner of Audio.Visual Entertainment, is already in his 40s this year. At this moment, he had just returned home and sat on the sofa playing with the child. Upon hearing Zheng Yu's question, Wang Su was somewhat puzzled and said, "Withdraw from the hot search. Has any artist from our company joined the hot search?" "Yes, boss, it's Su Yi who's on the trending list," Zheng Yu hurriedly said. Wang Su was a bit surprised and said, "This is a good thing. I remember Su Yi went to participate in that Tomorrow's Superstar program. It seems that this child is working hard and doing well. By the way, which one is on the trending list?" "The third most popular search." Wang Su's whole body was on edge. Her face was radiant, full of energy, and her eyes lit up. "You're making a name for yourself. Surprisingly, some artists from our audio and visual entertainment have made it to the third place on hot search." Zheng Yu anxiously said, "Mr. Wang, how much does it cost to remove this hot search?" "Hurry up and remove it." Wang Su said seriously, "Nonsense. It's a good thing to go on hot search. Why remove it? Did Su Yi do something illegal?" "No, it's not. Did that do anything unethical?" "Not really." Wang Su snorted coldly and said in an angry voice, "It's not that hot search." Zheng Yu didn't know what to say, so he simply said, "Mr. Wang, you can see for yourself." "Let me take a look, let me take a look." "Hang up the phone." A few minutes later, Wang Su's phone rang again. As soon as the phone was connected, Wang Su's slightly angry voice came through. "Who taught him how to sing like this? Quit the hot search. We must quit. Forget it, I can't afford to withdraw, that's it. Zheng Yu, take Su Yi to the hospital to have a look." Go to the psychiatric department. The company will reimburse you. This kid has a problem with his specifications. After hanging up the phone, Zheng Yu directly called Su Yi. What's your situation? Where are you now? I'll come find you. The two of them agreed on a location, and Zheng Yu immediately left. On the other side, Chen Yusen had just taken a shower and was only wearing a big red nightgown. Her hair was wet, tied together with a towel and coiled on her head. Even without makeup, Chen Yusen's appearance is very good, with a cool and stunning beauty. She walked up to the sofa and sat down, set the hair dryer aside, and took out her phone to look at it. What is this hot search? Chen Yusen also saw Su Ye's hot search topic, which was so interesting that people couldn't help but click on it. After reading the content inside, her reaction was the same as others. Chen Yusen's mouth slightly opened, and her feet rested on the coffee table, even her round toes tightened. This is too awkward, isn't it? Chen Yusen didn't expect Su Yi to sing like this on stage. It's so strange. At this moment, she saw a comment below Weibo. I really want to hear what the normal version of this song looks like. This comment has already received thousands of likes. Chen Yusen's lips curved into a smile. Although Su Yi seems to be seriously ill, she doesn't mind using her popularity to help him. This song is an original song by Su Yi, which is enough to prove his strength. He is qualified to develop in the entertainment industry. Chen Yusen slowly stood up, her long legs revealing from under her nightgown. She walked lightly into the study. Not long after, Chen Yusen posted a new update on her Weibo account. I'm also riding on the heat and giving you a song called, You Love 105 Degrees Celsius. Please support Su Ye's younger brother a lot. By the way, I'm singing the summer romance version. Chen Yusen has over 3 million Weibo followers, and when she posted this Weibo, all the active fans inside received prompts from the software. Wow! Sister Chen is singing. I want to listen. What song is this? Who is Su Yi? Upstairs, didn't you see the third trending topic? That singing lunatic is Su Yi. Chen Yusen's Weibo post has caused a lot of buzz. Chen Yusen has music scores, accompaniment, and other documents sent by Su Yi in her hand, making it convenient to sing. She directly recorded the songs on her phone in the study. The version she sang happened to have a similar flavor to the original version on Earth, with a hint of summer coolness that made people happy at first listen. After listening to the normal version of the song performed by Chen Yusen, these people began to comment one after another. Chen's performance is still as stable as ever, even if this song doesn't have professional recording equipment. Ha ha ha. Chen Jie, did you see that you can't sit still on the hot search? You just started recording songs with your phone. I have listened to both versions. To be honest, I think Su Ye's version sounds better. I have to say, this song is actually pretty good, it sounds really good. Don't you think Su Ye's creative ability is very strong? Although this song can be sung very well, he just doesn't sing it well. And some fans were indeed attracted and turned to look at Su Ye's version. After watching it, everyone felt a bit drunk, as if they had drunk a bottle of vodka. Although it's a song, why does it give me two feelings? Who taught Su Yi how to sing like this? With the addition of Chen Yusen, the popularity of this topic has taken it to the next level. With just this one song, Su Yi has gained a lot of fans. Unfortunately, Su Yi did not register on Weibo. At this moment, Su Yi is being interrogated by Zheng Yu in a coffee shop. The two sat face to face, the atmosphere was very oppressive. Zheng Yu looked as if he hated iron for not turning into steel. Su Yi, on the other hand, is showing up poorly. Love whatever you want. The two of them stared at each other with big eyes. Zheng Yu said seriously, can you sing well in the next episode of the program? Su Yi nodded and said, Brother Yu, don't worry, I will definitely sing well in my next program. You remembered it for me. Zheng Yu had no choice but to take Su Yi. Being on fire is a good thing. Can Su Yi look like this now? You make me feel scared. At this moment, Zheng Yu's phone rang. He furrowed his brow and realized that it was his colleague calling, or his old rival Zhang Wei. Zhang Wei is also an agent from another entertainment company, and he often competes with him for resources. As soon as the phone was connected, Zhang Wei's laughter came through. Zheng Yu, you're really good at marketing. You've instantly made the artist under your command named Su Yi famous. Zheng Yu is very puzzled. Marketing? What kind of marketing? Zheng Yu asked, what do you mean? Zhang Wei chuckled and said, stop pretending to me. In tonight's hot search, you only have 2 artists under your command. Don't tell me you don't know, okay, stop talking. Just listen to you and get angry. Hang up the phone. Zheng Yu still has some doubts. Isn't there only one hot search? How did it become 2? He opened Weibo and glanced at it, immediately seeing the update posted by Chen Yusen. This topic has been called the correct way to open Love You at 105 degrees Celsius by netizens. Su Ye's topic is the 3rd most trending topic, and this one is the 5th most trending topic. Zheng Yu opened Chen Yusen's video. There are no more customers at this coffee shop, so he decided to open an external store. When the singing inside started, Su Yi was startled. Who is this? How did you sing out the original version? It sounds quite nice. There is no doubt about Chen Yusen's strength, as Zheng Yu's body swayed along while listening to the music. I no longer have the roller coaster-like feeling of listening to Su Yi sing. This is just comfortable. This is what this song should look like. Zheng Yu listened with joy. Hee, my 2 artists under my command are trending. I'm standing up. He looked at Su Yi and said with a smile, Su Yi, continue to work hard. If you need anything, let me know and the company will arrange it for you. Su Yi asked, didn't you say you wanted to take me to the hospital? Are you still going? Don't give me another chance. Otherwise, I'll definitely take you there. Oh. At this moment, the sound of the system rang in Su Ye's ear. Congratulations to the host for completing the system task. The reward has started to settle. End of this chapter.